This is the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz, hosted by Jeremy Jorgensen and presented by Gate City Bank.
The 2019 Bison football season is off and running. Literally a sizzling debut by quarterback Trey Lance had nearly 35,000 fans at Target Field buzzing. The Bison dominate Butler. Jeremy Jorgensen with you, and joining me on set is the head coach of the Bison, Matt Entz. And Coach, welcome to the show. Welcome to the season. This is going to be a fun year, and it's been quite an off season for you. You got named head coach. The White House happens. Spring football happens. You transition into your first game at Target Field. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it?
It has been. It's been an atypical transition to becoming a head football coach, to say the least. And had a lot of new experiences, a lot of great people that have helped me behind the scenes, and that's made the transition a lot easier for me.
How excited were the kids to play a game at Target Field?
Well, I think after having 3 weeks of fall camp and then a week of school and practice, they were ready to go. It was time for us to evaluate ourselves against somebody besides wearing green and gold.
No doubt. Let's roll the first half highlights and take a look at what it looked like down there at Target Field. Obviously, it's a baseball stadium. There was a dirt infield. Tremendous support from Bison Nation out there. It was really fun to run out there and get this game rolling, and I thought the offense came out moving the ball. What did you like early, Coach?
Well, I liked how Tyler Roll got everyone involved. We had a great balance of pass game and run game, and got the ball into our playmakers' hands.
Yep, Trey was really good. Hits Christian Watson here, and his athleticism was on display early on here in the first quarter, wasn't it? It
was. I love the fact he makes the catch and then is able to break a tackle and turn it into yards after catch.
How about the run here, the speed? He has great speed.
There is great speed, and that's one of the things, super athletic young man.
How about the two-point conversion? You probably had this set up earlier in the week.
We had talked about it going back into fall camp. We wanted to create a situation where everyone has to defend every snap against the Bison.
That was really creative, really well done. Code Green was chomping at the bit. You took the ball to start the game, so they hadn't played for a while, and Derek Tuska plants one right there.
Did a great job of defending G. That was one of their favorite plays, or a play we anticipated they'd run, and outstanding play.
You know, Ty Brooks' skill set, really explosive. What a weapon he is.
He does a great job turning the corner, getting vertical, again, making plays or yards after contact.
We all know Trey Lance can run the football, but he has a really nice deep ball too, doesn't he?
Big arm, and puts this one right where it needs to be, where the only person that can catch it is Phoenix, and what a catch by Phoenix.
Boy, that is a highlight reel play right there. He laid out. That's over the shoulder. It's much harder than it looks. 15-0 at this point. Defensively, I thought the corners played well.
I'm really excited. I think he goes back to, you talk about a couple guys that played 2017 and have continued to improve ever since then.
You know, it's the first game. There's going to be a few miscues. There was a few balls on the field early in the first half.
Yeah, that was one of the negatives, and we talked about it as a program and as a team at halftime and at the end of the game. Those are things that we can definitely correct.
You know, Butler had a tough time offensively. There's no question about that. This was a 4th and 2 play, and the Bison did a really good job.
Well, Derek Tuska's getting great pressure, and then James Hendricks with the PBU. And James is around every play. He's involved.
A lot of new names for the fans to learn. Hunter Lupke is one of those. Talk about this kid.
It has had a really good fall camp and start of the season, and here he showed great balance, makes the catch, able to get back upfield and gain yards. Excited where he's going to be and how he's going to help us.
James Hendricks, he's a veteran player, a leader. He's a physical player, just a special talent.
He's very good football player. He's put on some weight, physical, strong. He's going to make plays for us all year long.
I thought one of the interesting things in the game was how you use the backs. All 3 backs are used. This is the 5th drive of the game, and all 3 of the backs, Ty, Dimitri, Adam, all used on this drive.
They all provide just a little different skill set for us offensively, and excited to see how those 3 can develop.
Some young tight ends were making some plays out there.
I joked after the game, I think the tight ends and Trey had a deal going. They caught a lot of touchdowns yesterday. I liked it.
No doubt. That's Josh Babich. What a way to welcome him to the field there. 22-0. The corners, again, run support was really good.
Not just cover corners. These guys can come up and tackle you.
No doubt. Phoenix Sproles, just a little bit about this kid and his talent.
Well, I think he just continues to develop. Last year, our fans saw him develop as a true freshman and start helping us later in the year, make some big plays, and he's picking up right where he left off.
The other young tight end, the kid from Crosby, Minnesota, Noah Gindor.
When you have a tight end 6'6", Trey puts it right where only he can catch it, and what a big Big catch for him.
I was standing in the end zone there, and Noah had a big smile on his face. Good for him. Trey Lance, the runs were blocked very well. Everything was happening, and James Hendricks was putting him in good positions by getting some takeaways. Great
play on a 3rd and 23. We're in a 2 shell and made a nice pick.
Here's some good blocking on a Trey Lance run.
You know, our guys just take pride in the run game. Receivers, tight ends, O-line, it's special to see.
Yeah, Josh Babbage, again, the tight end. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. That's a great first half.
It's a great first half. Another big-bodied tight end that's going to have a special career here for the Bison.
So there's the first half. Look at that crowd. That's a great scene right there at Target Field on our Nodak Insurance first half stat board. It's 36-0. The total yards, 349 to 67. Trey Lance was amazing in the first half of this football game. Before we get to the second half, let's get to know a little bit more about Ty Brooks.
This is Would You Rather with the 2019 Bison, presented by Gate City Bank.
Would you rather go skydiving or cliff diving?
It's both diving. I don't like nose. I'm staying on the ground, period.
Would you rather go camping or stay in a hotel?
Hotel. I'll go camping in somebody's backyard. But
Would you rather shovel snow or swat mosquitoes?
Shovel.
Would you rather swim in a pool or a lake?
Pool. You don't know what's in the lakes, especially down south.
Would you rather drive or fly when you're going somewhere?
Fly. It's quicker.
Yeah. Would you rather walk 10 miles or go to the dentist?
Go to the dentist. My legs hurt.
Would you rather bite your tongue while eating something or step on a Lego?
Ooh. I'm stepping on a Lego because that's only going to hurt for a little bit. That tongue going to hurt.
Yep. Would you rather sit on a beach or a cruise ship?
The beach.
Would you rather confront an alligator or a bear?
An alligator. I feel like I could outrun an alligator. I don't know. Bears be moving sometimes.
Would you rather be thirsty or hungry?
Ooh, thirsty.
Would you rather sit in a tractor or an office all day?
Office. Yeah, I know I live in North Dakota, but yeah, I'm gonna sit in the office.
Would you rather watch a movie at home or go to a theater?
At home.
Would you rather drink coffee or juice in the morning?
Juice.
Would you rather eat candy corn or cotton candy?
Ooh, cotton candy.
Would you rather own a fancy house or a fancy vehicle?
A house.
Coach up big at half. What was the message in the locker room?
Well, we wanted to continue to execute was the message that I first talked about. But at the time, I thought we had the ball on the ground too many times and a couple unnecessary penalties that either slowed or stopped series or drives. So wanted just to clean it up. And you're always looking for a perfect game as a coach and want to be as good as you can in game one.
You never know how you're going to come out of the locker room, and Butler got the ball to start the second half as we roll the highlights here, and Butler came out with a little energy in the third quarter here, and they got the ball moving, and they had some success passing and running on this drive.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating as a coach. You wanted your kids to come out and respond right away, and they did put together a nice little drive and got down into field goal range.
They had a quick little scat back too, didn't they?
He was. Our kids respected him. He played hard. He played football the way it was supposed to, and he's a tough kid.
You know, it's always good to force a field goal, though, and not let him in the end zone. Forced a field goal opportunity here.
Oh, of course, we talk about it routinely, that field goals don't get you beat, and if you're in the red zone, to give up a field goal.
And it continues with the first play for the Bison offensively in the third quarter. There's a turnover, and it turns into points for Butler, doesn't it? It
does. I mean, it again goes back to ball security, and it's all about the football. It doesn't matter if you're on offense or defense or special teams. And it was frustrating, and I know Ty was upset. I didn't have to say anything about it. He handled it himself.
Yep, and the Rams came out with some intensity right after that, and they were clearing some holes.
It was. We started to lean on Butler quite a bit, and we're creating some running lanes for our backs who did a great job.
Yeah, I thought Dimitri really showed some things in the run game, and then you really get Ty back on the mix here, too, as well.
I thought this was great to get him back, get the ball back in his hands, and then he pops off the big one and has a little baseball celebration for the Bison fans.
The home run swing, I loved it, 43-10. The Bulldogs had a 3-and-out. Now Trey Lance, just great speed, good blocking up front right here.
Excellent blocking. He may not even have been touched on this long touchdown run. And then, again, you see him running away from the defense. A big athletic kid who can hurt you with either his arm or his legs.
I asked him on the radio after the game, how good's the offensive line? He goes, look at my jersey. It's clean. I didn't fall in that infield at all. So pretty cool from Trey Lance. Jackson Brown, some of the subs start to get in here and make some plays. That's good to see.
It's great. Jackson's a special team guru for us, but to see him make some plays on defense is outstanding.
Good pursuit, getting in the backfield. That's a big staple of Code Green, isn't it?
It is. We're trying to create explosive plays defensively here. And we do lose a little bit of the contain, but you see our guys just rallying to the football.
Kind of nice to get Trey out of the game, get Zeb some reps, get him some game reps, and he performed well.
He did, and he deserves it. He's done a great job of learning our offense and coming in here making a big completion to Andy Voyen, his first collegiate catch.
Well, Kobe Johnson, he's a true freshman. He's a running back, another name that people are going to get familiar with. A couple of plays here from Kobe. What is his skill set?
Well, he comes from a high school where he had to run between the A gaps, and has great pad level, picks his knees up through the hole, and I'm excited to see how we can continue to develop him. But you see here, he's a tough runner. He's going to have a great career with Bison football.
And Sabian Clark, he's been in the program now, but another young talent.
Oh, big back, just learning how to be a collegiate back, and so excited for where he's at right now.
57-10 at this point, and Mason Hofstede, another depth linebacker that can make some plays.
Oh, great read here on the screen and getting him down on the ground as quickly as possible. Mason's an excellent player and will help us down the road.
Yep, and we'll end it here with a Kobe Johnson run. Well, he reads the holes well.
He does. He hits it, and not a big stature, but runs bigger than maybe his size.
Yeah, no question. Great to run out on the field there with your first victory. Congratulations on that. The final score, 57-10. Looking at some of the stats on the Nodak Insurance final stats board. 198 for Butler, held him under 100 yards rushing. Those are always good numbers to start with right there. Let's hear what the players had to say after the game.
Great win for our program. It actually exceeded what I thought was going to happen. I obviously came in thinking that, I want to score a touchdown, obviously, but just that play, having the fans right in the background, I got headbutted right away as I caught the ball at the touchdown, so I was ringing a little bit, so I didn't know where I was at. But it was just an awesome feeling being around my city.
Oh yeah, it was great for first game back there, especially in Minneapolis. Big crowd, record. I loved it.
The dirt was a little tricky. We practiced on our women's softball practice field earlier in the week, just to run a couple routes, and the dirt was thicker. The dirt here was a little thin, and it was kind of hard to break down, but for the most part, it held up.
That was incredible. And, I was a little curious to see how the stadium fit with the field. I mean, only looking at it on pictures, but the atmosphere was incredible, and the fans were awesome. And it was just looking at it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and just tried to enjoy every second of it.
Great comments from the players. So who was the top performer in this week's game, folks? Trey Lance is a redshirt freshman. He's a Minnesota kid playing his first start in the Twin Cities. All he did was roll out a masterpiece.
The player of the game, presented by Nodak Insurance Company.
Trey was 10 for 11 throwing the football, threw for 185 and 4 touchdowns. Now let's discuss his running abilities. Wow, 5 carries, 116 yards, and 2 more touchdowns. A sparkling debut, a debut where he wanted to serve notice.
Yeah, I think I kind of came in a little bit of a mindset, that I wanted to prove myself. And it's one of the things that Coach Entz talks about all the time, especially for this game, be so good that, they can't ignore you across the nation. So I think that's one thing that really stuck with me coming into this game, just to prove myself.
Coach, he was really good. I mean, this is a redshirt freshman playing his first really game. He played in some games last year, but first as a starter.
Well, he did an unbelievable job leading the offense, being able to communicate our plays and get us organized and be efficient with the pass game. But, having all those reps of practice a year ago, you can see the dividends of those things. He's done a great job and excited about where he can be this season.
Ben Ellefson was still nursing an injury, but those 2 young tight ends, Noah Gindorf and Josh Babbage, were outstanding. Tell us a little bit about these 2 kids as we start to get to know them.
Well, you talk about 6'6", 6'5", 2 big-bodied guys that can hold the point on the run game, but provide huge catch radiuses on the pass game, and you saw it yesterday. Trey, feeling comfortable and knowing that he can go to those guys is going to be critical as the season progresses.
Really good young players. Offensive coordinator Tyler Roll, I thought he called a really nice game, mixed it up well, especially with the running backs. 5 running backs played, and I thought the carries with the main 3 was pretty divvied up, 10, 8, and 8. And how do you expect that moving forward? All these 3 guys are going to have a role, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. They all have a huge role, and I think the carries will probably maintain, kind of a balance to it. And we talked about that Friday night as an offensive staff, that we need to continue to utilize all three running backs and do it by committee. And I think that'll make us more effective as the year progresses.
One of the little things in a football game, the coin toss. Usually the Bison defer, but you took the football this time. Tell us a little bit about that situation.
Well, the thought process going into it was, looking at the weather, there was supposed to be sun. We knew that in the third quarter the sun could provide an issue on some return game in left field, and wanted to force Butler to have to return with their eyes in the sun. So if we won the toss, we were going to take the football right off the bat.
Let's talk a little bit about the experience at Target Field and in the Twin Cities. We'll see the time lapse of how the field was put together, but I thought the field held up well. The cleats weren't tearing it up at all. In the infield, the guys managed that pretty well.
I thought they did an unbelievable job. When I say they, I think the Twins preparing the field, putting it together. You couldn't ask for a better host to this game, but there was no issues as far as sliding around. On the infield, a little bit different, but I reminded our players they grew up playing on grass and dirt.
Yeah, no question about it. That's a very good point. Well, coming up, we're going to talk about how the Bison are starting to manage injuries. It's going to the computer. It's an interesting little way to look at it. Stay with us. Welcome back. Most think a GPS system is something you get in your rental car so you don't get lost. Well, there is never a dull moment when it comes to technology, and Bison football is ahead of the curve. Alex Egan goes in depth with NDSU strength and how they are now trying to prevent injuries.
Today's Bison football feature story is presented by Olaf Anderson Construction.
The strength and conditioning staff have a new tool to help them monitor the student-athlete's performance on the field.
This is the next step we got to take, and looking at keeping our players healthy, and then also performance parts of it too. How can we keep a player fresh out of the football field and running at high speeds and fresh for game days?
They come in the form of a vest the players wear under their pads.
They're GPS units. They have accelerometer, gyrometer, and a magnetometer on them.
The unit provides assistant strength and conditioning coach Eric Perkins real-time information on how fast the player is running, how quickly they are changing directions, and more importantly, how hard the player is working in practice and in the game.
There's 28 metrics that we can look at, and then there's subcategories within those 28 metrics, so I got a lot of information that I can look at.
The vest sends a signal to a receiver set up in between the practice fields, and Perkins carries around an iPad to instantly monitor all the information. And the information carries a purpose more than just seeing how fast a guy can run. The goal of the system is to prevent injuries.
Some teams that have used this data year 2 and 3, they're only having 1-2 soft tissue injuries per year after they get the data.
The same system the Bison are using is used by NFL teams, major college programs, and European soccer teams to track the strain athletes are putting on their bodies.
Stuff like this helps us learn about how we practice, about how the athlete trains and how they should be trained.
The Bison have 25 units right now, and they are mostly being worn by skill position players. The hope is to get enough units one day to track players from the time they get on campus as freshmen and be better educated about how their bodies work over the course of 4 or 5 years.
So when that player becomes a player and starts taking more reps, we know what he can handle and what he can do.
For the Bison Football Show, I'm Alex Egan.
Coach, how did you guys find out about this and implement it into your program?
Well, it's something that some other universities throughout the Midwest utilize. We've kind of looked into it. We have some people on staff that are very intrigued about metrics and using numbers to evaluate kind of athletic performance. And so we got into it. It's been a great asset. I know Coach Perkins has worked with the University of Oklahoma a little bit on trying to generate some baseline numbers just for our kids because it is such a new system to our program.
Very interesting. And do you think down the road it could prevent injuries? As they said, as a guy gets more reps, it really could help them to maybe take a kid out of practice.
It can. You can actually set the system up to have an alarm where a certain individual exceeds a maximum number of decelerations or high-speed running, which is, I think, equivalent to 16 miles an hour. 700 yards is kind of our limit right now. So, if we ever got to a point, we think it can help with some hamstrings and some chronic things that unfortunately hold kids back. Let's keep them healthy so that way they can come back and practice the next day.
No doubt. Very interesting. Well, the Bison have been doing a very good job in recruiting for years. It's a lot of fun to see new names and new personalities come into the program. The Bison have themselves a fine young linebacker from this past recruiting class.
The future crop of Bison, presented by Peterson Farms Seed.
Luke Wirtz is from Batavia, Illinois, and this young man had a lot of offers, including some Power 5 schools. It's a position where depth is needed. He was in uniform at Target Field as he continues to work and learn the Bison defensive system.
I'm just trying to play my role out, however it is. You know, I've been working with Coach Olson and been studying the playbook, doing as much as I can with that, and obviously having the new playbook is a little bit challenging to get to know everything. Your head's kind of swimming in the beginning of fall camp, but I've done my best to try and work on it, and we're just going to keep learning from here on out.
Coach, I remember the recruiting process. He was a big-time get, had a lot of offers. This is a good-looking young man. He's
going to have a great career here, and you can hear in that piece. He's humble, wants to learn, and is excited to be a Bison. And he comes from a high school program. Batavia, Illinois is one of the best programs in the state of Illinois, and he's played a high level of football. So I think the transition's been easy, and of course having him here throughout the entire summer always eases in the transition and shortens the learning curve for these young men.
No doubt about it. Well, the next opponent, we all know who that is. It's the University of North Dakota. We'll discuss it after the break. Well, Coach, it's the University of North Dakota. It's the home opener. The banner will be raised. It's an exciting time to always have that first game at the Fargo Dome.
Oh, definitely. We have the best home field advantage in all of FCS football, and it may be one of the best ones in the country. So looking forward to opening the season, or our home opener this coming week, and I know our kids will be excited, and a big game just because it's the next one.
Yeah. And the Verizon look ahead, I was talking to the kids on the radio after the game, and they know about this game, and I think they're very, very excited, not only because it's at home, but because it's an opportunity to really show what they can do.
Oh, definitely. Having your first home game, you want to play well. We want to continue to improve, and I challenged the team yesterday in the locker room after the game that I think this is one of those teams that is reminiscent of 2015, where we continued to get better week in and week out and played our best football late in the season. And so that's the challenge I laid out to them. We need to continue to get better. We're nowhere near where we want to be yet.
Thanks, Coach. Great show today. It'll be a fun season, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week, everyone.